I manage a boutique hotel in Vienna. We're used to travelers, but Americans bring a special kind of confusion about formality. Last month, a businessman from Seattle wandered into our breakfast room at 7 in the morning wearing shorts and flip-flop. He spotted our general manager, Herr Dr. Schmidt, a man who'd spent 30 years earning his title, and waved. "Hey, what's up, buddy?" The entire dining room went silent. Herr Dr. Schmidt's face went through several shades before settling on polite confusion. The American persisted. "You the manager? Cool. Listen, my eggs were a little runny yesterday." He snapped his fingers twice. Our chef, who'd trained in Paris for a decade, gripped his spatula like it was a weapon. The American later told me he thought European hotels were supposed to be friendlier than American ones because we're more relaxed over here. He'd read it in a blog. My cousin works at a bank in Frankfurt. An American intern started last spring. First day, she bounced into the CEO's office, stuck out her hand, and said, "Hi, I'm Ashley." The CEO, her Professor Muller, blinked slowly. She'd bypassed 3 secretaries, ignored the appointment system, and addressed him like they were at a barbecue. When his assistant gently explained that one schedules meetings and uses proper titles, Ashley laughed. "Oh, we're not doing that hierarchical stuff, right? That's so 1950s. We're all equals here." She then explained that in America, this kind of old-fashioned formality had been scientifically proven to reduce productivity by 40%. She'd made up the statistic on the spot. The CEO asked his assistant to review their intern vetting process. "I'm a university lecturer in Copenhagen." During orientation, an American exchange student interrupted my introduction to ask where the coffee was. Not after I'd finished, during. When I paused and gestured to continue the thought, she said, "You can keep talking, I'll just grab some real quick." She returned with coffee and a Danish, eating audibly in the front row. After class, she approached my desk and said, "So, Jennifer, I had some thoughts about the syllabus. I'm Dr. Anderson. I have a doctorate in Nordic history and 20 years of teaching experience." She wanted to know if we could workshoop the reading list as a group, because collaboration is how America became #1 in education. Denmark consistently ranks higher than the United States in education. I didn't mention this. Instead, I asked her to address me properly. She told me I had authority issues. I run a family law firm in Brussels. We've been operating for 3 generations, and formality isn't optional, it's how we signal competence. An American lawyer joined us for a cross-border case last year. First meeting with a client, he walked in and said, "Hey folks, I'm Brad." The client, a Belgian industrialist in his 60s, looked at his watch and then at me. Brad dropped into a chair, crossed his ankle over his knee, and said, "So what are we solving today?" Our client had prepared a 50-page dossier. Brad hadn't read it. When addressed as Mr. Morrison, Brad interrupted. "Just Brad, man. Mr. Morrison's my dad." He then launched into a speech about how American law firms had disrupted the stiff European model by fostering authentic human connection. Our client terminated the partnership 2 days later. Brad told me the client couldn't handle innovation. "My brother manages operations at a pharmaceutical company in Zurich. They hired an American project manager who insisted on open-plan seating because walls create hierarchies. Never mind that Swiss labs require walls for contamination control. He started a Slack channel called Random Coffee Chats and randomly assigned senior scientists to grab coffee with technicians. Scientists with 30 years of research experience were expected to block out 30 minutes to discuss hobbies with people they barely knew. When the head of research, a woman with 2 PhDs, declined, the American sent a company-wide email about breaking down silos. He cited a TED Talk. He'd watched it on the flight over. The head of research quit 3 months later. The American still calls it resistance to change. I work the reception desk at a government ministry in Oslo. We have protocols for everything: appointments, titles, proper channels. An American consultant arrived last winter for a meeting with our deputy minister. She had no appointment. When I explained she needed to schedule through official channels, she leaned over my desk and said, "I'll just pop up and say hi." I explained that government officials don't accept pop-ins. She told me that in America, this kind of bureaucracy is why Europe is falling behind in innovation metrics. She'd apparently memorized a Forbes article. She then tried to explain that spontaneous meetings increase creative synergy by 60%. I asked where she got that figure. She said, Harvard Business Review, probably. It wasn't. I checked later. I'm a conductor with the Vienna Philharmonic. We have 180 years of tradition. An American guest violinist joined us for a limited engagement last season. First rehearsal, he walked in chewing gum. Chewing gum, in front of Maestro Hartmann, who has spent 40 years with this orchestra. When Maestro Hartmann was introduced as Maestro, the American said, "Cool, nice to meet you, man," and tried to bump fists. We don't bump fists in the Vienna Philharmonic. During a break, he suggested we loosen up the program and add a crowd pleaser to the final movement. The crowd pleaser was a film score. He explained that American orchestras had proven that classical music needs to evolve or die, which is why they were crushing European orchestras in ticket sales. European orchestras sell out regularly. When Maestro Hartmann dismissed the suggestion, the American muttered about gatekeeping high culture. My daughter works at a publishing house in Prague. They publish literary fiction, poetry, serious work that's been translated into 14 languages. An American author came through last year on a book tour. First meeting, she addressed our senior editor, a man who discovered 3 Booker Prize nominees, as chief. Not editor, not sir, chief. She pitched him her next manuscript during the meet and greet. It's like Harry Potter meets Eat, Pray, Love, but edgier. He smiled politely. She continued, I know European publishing is more traditional, but American books are dominating global markets because we take risks. She cited Amazon rankings as evidence of literary merit. When he mentioned that our house focuses on translated contemporary fiction, she said, Right, but have you considered that's a limiting business model? She'd been writing for 3 years. He'd been editing for 30. She later posted on Twitter that European publishers were allergic to commercial success. My sister works at a Michelin-starred restaurant in Lyon. The head chef is addressed as Chef Rousseau, not Pierre, and definitely not Dude. An American food blogger showed up last month for a reservation. He filmed his entrance. He filmed the host stand. He filmed the dining room. When Chef Rousseau came out to greet tables, the American yelled, Pierre, bro, loved your Instagram. Chef Rousseau is 62. He does not have Instagram. His sous chef has Instagram. The American then asked if Chef could surprise him with something off menu, Chef's choice, but keep it light, I'm doing keto. We're a Michelin-starred restaurant. There is no keto menu. When his first course arrived, he took 11 photos from different angles before tasting anything. He then told the server it was pretty good, but needs heat. He wanted Tabasco. Chef Rousseau still brings this up at staff meetings. I'm a sommelier at a vineyard estate in Tuscany. We've produced wine since 1604. Our tours are conducted in Italian, English, or French, and they follow a specific educational structure. An American couple arrived last spring and immediately asked if they could just skip to the tasting part. When I explained that understanding the terroir enhances appreciation, the husband said, We're more about the vibe than the history lesson. He then asked if we had anything like a Napa cab. We're in Tuscany. We make Chianti. I offered our Reserva, aged 8 years. He swirled it twice, sipped, and said, "Kinda thin, right? You guys ever think about making it bolder?" His wife nodded. She asked if we'd considered adding oak chips to boost the profile. We use traditional Slavonian oak barrels. The husband left a Yelp review saying we were snobby about our methods. I work at a cafe in Stockholm. We open at 7, serve breakfast until 11, and follow Swedish coffee culture, which means quality over speed. An American tourist came in at 7:15 and asked for the biggest coffee you have, like a bucket. I'm jet-lagged. We have 4 sizes. He wanted a 5th. When I explained our largest size, he asked, "Why don't you just make bigger cups? Isn't that capitalism?" I'm a barista, not an economist. He ordered a large Americano, then asked why it took 4 minutes. In America, Starbucks has this down to like 90 seconds. You heard of Starbucks? Yes. We've heard of Starbucks. He then asked if we could add some pep to the music. We were playing traditional Swedish jazz. He wanted something upbeat like Maroon 5. When I declined, he said Swedish cafes needed to learn about customer experience from America. He left without tipping. We don't tip in Sweden. I manage a bakery in Lisbon. We specialize in pastel de nata, made the traditional way since my avu taught me 40 years ago. An American travel vlogger came in last summer and ordered 6. Before taking a bite, she said, "So, what makes these better than the ones at that chain near Times Square?" I've never been to Times Square. She bit into one, filmed her reaction, and said, "Pretty good. Have you thought about doing, like, a Nutella version? That'd be so Instagrammable. We've been making pastel de nata the same way for generations." She asked if we'd considered modernizing the recipe to appeal to younger demographics. She's 23. Our customers include everyone from students to grandparents. She left a TikTok review explaining that Portuguese bakeries were stuck in the past, but cute for the aesthetic. Her video has 40,000 views. My nephew manages a chocolatier in Brussels. We've been crafting pralines since 1898, the same recipes, the same technique. An American entrepreneur visited last fall, tried one piece, and asked for a meeting with the owner. My nephew is the owner. The American wanted to partner up and scale the business. You could be the next Godiva but better, right? I'm talking distribution deals, influencer marketing, maybe a Super Bowl ad. We make 200 kilograms of chocolate per month by hand. He said, "That's the problem, you're thinking too small. In America, we call that leaving money on the table." He pitched a plan to automate production and triple output within 6 months. When my nephew explained we prioritize quality over volume, the American said, "That's a limiting belief. You've been brainwashed by European anti-capitalism." He left his business card. My nephew uses it as a bookmark. I drive a licensed taxi in London. Been doing it for 18 years, past the knowledge, know every street in this city. An American couple flagged me down near Piccadilly last autumn. Before even sitting, the husband opened the front door. "We don't want the back, that's weird. We'll sit up front with you." I explained that's not how London taxis work. He said, "In America, only criminals sit in the back of cabs." Are we criminals? His wife laughed. I directed them to the rear. 10 minutes into the journey, he asked why I was taking the long way. We were on the most direct route. He pulled out his phone. Google Maps says we should have turned back there. Google Maps doesn't account for road closures or traffic patterns. I explained this. He said, "No offense, but GPS is usually smarter than personal opinion. I've driven these streets for nearly 2 decades." He filed a complaint with TfL saying I'd ignored technology to rack up the fare. My uncle is a train conductor in Switzerland. The trains run on exact schedules, synchronized across the entire network. An American backpacker missed his connection in Bern because he showed up 4 minutes late. He found my uncle on the platform and demanded to know why the train didn't wait. My uncle explained that the schedule is published and precise. The American said, in the US, buses wait if they see you running. This is a train, not a bus. He then claimed that customer service in Europe is trash compared to America, and that Swiss Rail should consider implementing grace periods. Grace periods would collapse the entire network. The American posted on Reddit that Swiss trains are technically impressive, but totally inflexible. He got 600 upvotes. Someone in the comments said, typical European rigidity. I work the ticket counter at a train station in Madrid. We serve thousands of travelers daily, and every transaction requires ID for security purposes. An American student came to my window last spring and asked for a ticket to Barcelona. I asked for his passport. He said, I don't carry that around, it's worth like $200 to replace. I explained it's required for the avenue. He said, can't you just trust me? I have a Maryland driver's license. Spanish National Rail doesn't accept Maryland driver's licenses. He told me this policy was super xenophobic and that in America, we trust people first. I explained that trusting people doesn't satisfy security regulations. He asked to speak to my manager. My manager repeated exactly what I said. The American said European bureaucracy was why the EU's economy is struggling. Spain's economy is recovering well. I'm a border control officer at Amsterdam Schiphol. We process thousands of passengers daily, and EU non-EU lines are clearly marked. An American family cut into the EU line last December despite signs in 4 languages. When I redirected them, the father said, we're basically EU, we're from New York. That's not how citizenship works. I showed him the non-EU line. He said, this is ridiculous, we've been waiting forever. They'd been in line 7 minutes. His daughter asked, isn't there an express option? We'd pay extra. No, there's no paid express lane for passport control. The father then explained that American airports have figured out efficiency with pre-check and that Europe should adopt successful models. We process passengers efficiently. He just didn't want to wait. When I finished checking his passport, he said, you've been great, but the system's broken. The system processed him in 4 minutes. I work at a rental car desk in Athens. We require an international driving permit for non-EU licenses. It's Greek law. An American couple came in last June with California licenses. I asked for their IDP. The husband said, we don't need that, we're Americans. Our license works everywhere. It doesn't. I explained the requirement. He pulled out his phone and read me the US State Department website, which actually confirmed what I'd said, but he stopped reading before that part. See? It says right here that Americans can drive internationally. You're making this up to upsell us. The IDP costs $15 and takes 10 minutes to get before you travel. His wife said in America, we don't have bureaucratic nonsense like this. We just rent and drive. When I couldn't release the vehicle without proper documentation, he accused me of discrimination. You're doing this because we're American. I'm reporting this to the embassy. The embassy's website lists the IDP requirement in bold text. My cousin is a museum curator in Warsaw. We run one of the largest history museums in Poland, with strict guidelines for behavior and photography. An American influencer came through last spring with a ring light and tripod. She set up in front of a Holocaust memorial exhibit and started filming herself. When security approached, she said, "It's fine, I'm educating my followers." She had 200,000 subscribers. She didn't have permission. When told she needed to put away the equipment, she said, "This is censorship. In America, we have the First Amendment. You've heard of freedom of speech." Yes, we've heard of it. It doesn't apply to private museum policies in Poland. She then explained that museums need to evolve with social media, and that gatekeeping history doesn't help anyone learn. She was asked to leave. She posted a video calling the museum hostile to content creators and said Polish institutions don't understand modern education. Her followers sent us angry messages for 3 weeks. I teach a cross-cultural business course in Rotterdam. Every semester, American exchange students arrive convinced they'll teach us about modern work culture. Last term, one interrupted a lecture on Dutch consensus building to announce that hierarchies are dead and the future is flat organizations. I asked him to name 3 Dutch companies. He couldn't. He then explained that his dad's startup in Austin had eliminated all titles and productivity skyrocketed. When I asked for data, he said, "It's just obvious, you can feel it." 2 weeks later, he requested an extension on his paper about Dutch business practices. He hadn't started it because deadlines create unnecessary stress. He told me that in America, professors care about learning, not arbitrary dates. The deadline was in the syllabus. He'd had 8 weeks. I didn't grant the extension.